So I've been doing some development in dbt. I've made changes to this model, and if I jump over into GitHub, we can see exactly what changes I've made. So I have added this new last updated at timestamp into my model, and I've also taken my sales price and I've multiplied it by 100 as well. Before I open a pull request here, I want to make sure that this looks exactly as it would expect within my BI tool. I want to see what the output looks like, and I also want to check that there's no unintended consequences from any of the changes that I have made. So if I jump over now into Omni, and I want to go onto a branch in Omni. So I could create a new branch or I could use this existing branch. And now when I choose that branch, I can choose what dbt environment this is going to point to. So as I've been doing my development, the output of my development models is being written to the dbt SE team development schema in my data warehouse. So I can choose instead to point to that. So I'm now pointing to that, and here now I've got my new additional fields. So for example, we'll see here this last updated at field is part of the automatically generated fields for my Omni data model, which points to my development environment. So I can query that now by jumping over here into my Omni workbook. And if I refresh again, we'll see here again, I'm on my branch and I'm pointing to my dbt SE team environment. And from here then, I can go ahead and I can choose my last updated at field. So now from here, I can see that my output looks as I would expect. And we can see my queries are pointing to my dbt SE team development branch. I can also check that everything looks as I would expect for my changes to my revenue. So we saw that we changed our total sales price. So if I choose my total revenue here, and again, we can see our queries hitting our dbt SE team schema. If I was to swap back over and point to my public environment instead, so my production environment, and I refresh, we'll see that revenue is 100 times less than it was. So we can see here now we're pointing to our default schema instead of our development schema. So I've now checked my output. I've checked that everything looks as I would expect. And then the last thing is I want to check if there's any unintended consequences. So I might jump over into my dashboard and see that everything looks as I would expect. So this is me pointing to my production environment. And again, then I can swap back over onto my dbt SE team. I'll expect to see these revenue numbers multiplied by 100. And then we'll see if I've maybe accidentally broken anything else as I've been working. So I can jump over into my dbt SE team environment. I can rerun my queries, and we'll see that this number has now changed because it's hitting my development environment with those changes on it. But I've actually also broken some stuff on my branch as well. So it's been super easy for me to check by swapping between my environments, check that the changes that I've made have worked as I would expect, and also check if I've got any unintended consequences from any of my other changes and see if I've broken any content that I need to fix before I merge my changes in dbt.